Good evening, or good night. As you can see, reports of our deaths have been greatly exaggerated, or else we've risen from the dead, and now zombies. They're zombies.
Well, Jason's half alive anyway.
Yeah, I am.
You have returned! Like Lazarus!
Special sit-in episode.
He's back!
The things I had to do.
We're watching the show and it's gone downhill, if I have to say.
It has definitely gone downhill. Viewership has gone up, but the quality. Girls are contacting us all of a sudden, commenting on how cute we are, but downhill in every other way.
Yeah,
I seen you had
lowest
one in that as
common
well.
denominator.
We did start with that. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was. I can't even make up this. Okay, moving on. No, you don't care. Why do I care? Okay, moving on. Not much happened this week, so we're going to have a couple of stories, but mostly a big discussion about the future of the web 2.0.
Bullshit.
Controversial.
Controversial. I think someone's got an opinion.
Do you have an opinion? Do you want to give it to yourself? Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. The lead into this conversation is that Web 2.0, a term I think coined by Bill O'Reilly, by Tim O'Reilly, is the emerging new technology behind, not a technology, but the emerging new development of the web. Let me finish before you do it. Jesus, show some respect. And it's the emerging new development of the web, making the web more democratic using technologies such as Ajax. Shut up! To make the web...
To clean the pipes up.
To improve interactivity and create social communities and focus on enemies. So what we're talking about here is moving from static standard pages to dynamically driven, community driven dynamic pages with lots of fancy bells and whistles. This is the transition to Web 2.0. So we've got on our wiki got lots of examples of where I think this is going, well not where it's going, where it is, what's happened. And maybe we could talk about where it's going and if it's happening at all, and so on. Web 2.0, Jason, what's your opinion?
Well, I don't like the 2.0. Like, what was Web 1.9? Like, the point releases? Come on.
Oh no. You're such a geek.
Even if it's just Web 2 or something, maybe, but 2.0, it does imply point releases and...
Don't start asking, is it an alpha or a beta?
Well, it's permanently in beta. I think that's part of the problem. But, okay. Well, that's a valid point. It's a silly acronym, but the web is evolving.
It's an acronym. What does the WEB stand for?
World Environmental Balubas.
I think maybe bullshit would be...
2.0.
Oh my god. Katrina. No, Jesus, shut up. Moving on. Yeah, so you think it's a buzzword, fine, but, you know, do you not think the web is changing and the way that we interact with it is changing?
Yeah, I mean, like the other day I got inside my computer, like, and I was all like electric current, that's what happened. Yeah.
I thought you lived inside your computer anyway.
Climbed inside and hooked the CPU.
It was like Johnny Quest, you know, those virtual worlds.
So much for an insightful critique. I couldn't understand my computer because that's stupid. Okay, no
Alright, come on, alright. Yeah, I guess there's a slight change, but yeah, it's just like...
Okay.
Some of it's a rehash of what's been done before, some of it's, yeah, like you said, just bells and whistles.
I'm going to give a few examples of why I think it's not. Bookmarking, changing from static bookmarks to delicious, which you can use on any machine, share socially, tag, etc. Homepages, changing from ugly grey portals with giant ads like
I noticed that ugly grey
Netflix.
website, I think it starts with a D, ends with an N.
Donut nuns?
No.
N. Donut nuns, N. But these are examples of things which were not really, they were kind of decided by large corporations, web properties, changing to much more accessible, much more user-defined things. I mean, an example is Microsoft's new Live.com. They're changing their whole orientation to at least appear more user-driven, so it's more answering that question of what people want rather than what we want to give them.
It's customized web.
Well, that's just a case of Microsoft following the startups as usual. And yeah, you're right, it is the small companies that are doing this Web 2.0 stuff. It's because startups are always the innovative people. They're the only people with ability to take the risks, and they have to set themselves apart. Otherwise, they won't succeed.
No, that's true.
Whatever you think about the Web 2.0 name or idea, technologies like RSS enclosures and like advanced JavaScript techniques and toolkits for doing those and Ruby on Rails are really making a difference in how websites are developed, and not websites, but how corporate strategy on the internet's working. And arguably making it much better. I mean, it's very easy. We criticize stuff a lot, but I think it's very easy to be too critical. And the web is developing in a more positive way. It seems.
Yeah. If you think about it, like when you started off with the web, it was just websites, and you built your own website, but everyone else's was owned by them. So now, I know, Jason, you post a lot to Wikipedia, or at least you post a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you post to Wikipedia.
Addictive heavily is the term.
But you don't own Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's the term.
Alright. But like, I mean, you don't own Wikipedia, you don't host it, you didn't create it, but yet you still post to something, and
well, okay.
it's kind of no longer your control.
That's fair enough, yeah. Well,
so I mean, that's certainly different, and like, I mean, even just simple stuff like people being able to leave comments.
I'm not saying there's not progress. I mean, there's obviously progress. It's just, it's not like there's just a step that's taken. It's been gradual, I think.
Yeah, it's not like singularity for the web kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's all changed and it's magnificent.
But if you look at the development of websites using these sort of social features, there has been a literal exponential growth over the past 2 years. So it is a step. I mean, the technology might have been developing gradually, but it's reached like tipping point now. And Tim Berners-Lee's original vision of the web is it being a place where you would write and read, not just a medium of like a book, but a medium which is interactive and communicative is becoming more real.
Okay. Well, it was, the only problem was techies failed to realise how difficult it would be for normal people to make websites. And that's why blogs became so popular. Like, I heard that somewhere. Some person was saying that.
There's still the barrier. Like, you still have some technical skills to like use a computer. I mean, if you think about it, someone who can't read or write, immediately they can't use a computer, so they're out of the game straight away. So I mean, there are still barriers there to using these things, and saying, you can read and write, but you might be familiar with computers or have any experience. So, same as you might be scared of learning to drive, you might be scared of learning how to use a computer. And then again, it's like having to learn HTML and all these other things. I know it's helped by like maybe Google Page Creator, things like that.
This is another aspect of the whole Web 2.0 thing. Google have launched, and I think it's more than
GeoCities.
Exactly, but that's the whole thing. It's more than just a new series of technologies. Google have launched a new service, Google Page Creator, which allows you to not just create a page, but they'll host it for free. Currently there are no ads. There'll probably be ads in the future, but they won't be a great big 50% of the screen GeoCities style ad. So it's a whole new attitude to what people want on the web, and a new amount of competition. And obviously it's a decrease in the price of bandwidth, decrease in the price of storage, driven by companies like Google. But getting back to what you were saying,
but like, it also goes with like people are becoming more tech savvy. I said there's still a barrier, but like in general, people are catching up with the technology and stuff like. So I mean, we can go. Bebo is very popular here in this college at the moment, and like you can definitely bet that like not all. Well, we have quite a large amount of people who are doing computers, but they all joined straight away. But I mean, plenty of others would be like from other courses where they just use it for email or whatever, just connected with their friends, and they all have the customized sites and all this and the blogs and all this. So I mean, it's not impossible. People are picking it up.
You can definitely see those two curves of the kind of the simplification of technology and user adoption of technology in general, kind of growing together and feeding off each other.
It's not as painful
exactly
to do it anymore, and benefits like you're connected to all your friends and your friends' friends. So like I mean, the benefits seem to outweigh the pain of trying to figure out how to get a nice pink frilly colour.
Bebo's a really interesting example as well, because of course you've had MySpace and Friendster and things like this existing for several years, but before now you never had in our college, in our social environment, a huge explosion of people using these kind of social services. But suddenly Bebo reaches a certain level where it becomes compulsory almost. We've all got accounts, and you can't not in our college.
It's social death.
It is tragically. It's
well, apparently in the States, MySpace is the big one. Like, and recently there's been huge. Like every day you read stories of like, oh, someone was bullying on MySpace and paedophiles are out there trying to get after kids.
I think that should be a live journal. Everybody needs their thing to pick on. It's just I think that when it gets a critical mass, then you start getting those kind of attitude.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
problems.
It's getting there. Is the difficulty for a lot of them.
It's hard to know how much, as you said, the critical mass of people using the web is making forcing companies to make it easier to use, and how much it being easier to use is getting people onto the web. But the two things are certainly having an effect on each other. And one thing you point out there is that there's a limit on how many people are going to use any technology because there's a basic literacy problems and things like this. Robert Crinchy wrote an article this week on his blog about, which he doesn't like to call a blog, his column, on how that there is a fundamental limit to how many people can get on the net, how many people have computers. That's a pretty stringent limit, and in the United States I think it's about 60%, something like that, of the population have computers, which means a large amount of people actually don't have computers.
Yeah, or experience, or they just can't get at the net.
And it will take essentially a generational shift for that penetration to be achieved.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be
people literally dying
until it becomes like maybe the stage where computers are as ubiquitous as like the television, and internet access is ubiquitous as TV. So at that stage, then it's available everywhere.
I don't know about that, but okay.
But like,
well, I don't think the internet will ever get the kind of popularity a TV does.
But you don't think the TV will be delivered via the internet solely within like 20, 30 years?
Quite possibly.
That's probably a high probability, alright.
Yeah.
I'd say, but by that time the internet will have changed so much that it'll be web 19.0.
Yeah, but true, it will be like the old broadcast of TV over the airwaves will be phased out because they simply want to use the existing radio bands for other things. So they'll just go, alright, use the internet instead.
As is happening with analog radio at the moment, and analog TV.
Plus, they'll have more control.
It's all digital, obviously,
They'll have more control, they'll be all encrypting it and DRMing it to hell and back.
Speaking of Web 19.0, Web 3.0, let's just coin a phrase which you'll hate even more.
No, I think it's really kind.
Was it? Okay, well let's just use a phrase that was already coined. Damn the originality of people before me throughout history with their inventions.
I think it was on a list apart actually. Sorry, go on.
Go Web 4.0.
Dvorak.org/blog. Yeah, this is Twit.
No, it's not. And it never will be. But Web 3.0, let's just call it that, is an idea, say, about location-aware services and services that integrate with the real world as opposed to being merely social within that realm of the web as distinct from everything else. So, not smart fridges that order your dinner for you, because that's just ridiculous and confined to BBC TV series in the 90s. You like a fridge that orders your dinner, but nobody else would.
The creator of TCP/IP had people selling fridges with internet access, and there's actually a few out there in America. I think there's a lot actually. The high-end companies, the high-end fridges for like rich people's houses and stuff, all have the internet access, and probably it doesn't have the food scan at the moment because no one wants to fucking scan barcodes and that kind of shit. But once the RFID becomes small enough, then certainly a possibility.
Possibly.
There's significant opposition to RFID are small enough already. It's the price of RFID.
Well, it's not just that. There's significant opposition to it becoming used in
the price obviously
items
for
too.
food and
huge campaign to prevent RFID use in internet products. May never take that.
Yeah, exactly, because they're never turned off.
They probably will.
Well, it depends on whether you
Another disagreement. Excellent.
It depends on whether you have active or passive RFID tags, because active ones can be turned off or the battery will die.
They'll be passive. I mean, you
passive
have the battery and it's just
Yeah.
Crazy. They'll obviously be passive, like it saves the cost as well.
How can you kill those things? So do you just like get your pound of butter home, scoop it out, and then bash the carton?
Moving away from fridges that order your dinner, because I think it's a tad irrelevant.
Yeah.
And the web connecting with communications devices, like I think there was a location-aware messaging company we spoke about before, name escapes me, who were bought by Google, and they had a piece of software which literally would work out approximately where you were in relation to the other people that you were messaging. So if you're messaging someone in a cafe, or if you're sitting in a cafe and someone who meets your predefined criteria pops up, it will say there is a cute girl who has met your criteria in the cafe or in the street or whatever.
You're ripping off Alex Albrecht. They talked about that in Dig, eh?
Exactly, they did. Good show. But we're doing it in a wider context, so let's not be so autistic about it. Okay. This integration with the real world is happening as well, because this is my point with the Web 2.0, it's an accelerating process of change.
Oh, accelerating change.
Accelerating change.
I was thinking about accelerating change, and I was
Right.
thinking acceleration, it's not just a scalar, it's a vector. That could actually mean there's a decrease in change.
Oh.
Yeah.
How does that work in non-math?
What?
In the English language as opposed to...
It means that acceleration doesn't have to be in a positive direction. There could
So
be...
that's true.
Slowing down.
De-accelerating is the same as accelerating.
But in everyday language we refer to that as deceleration. Not acceleration!
Well, it's
Or
a vector,
slowing
so
down.
deacceleration still, yeah, never mind.
I think there's a danger of, people drinking at this point. If they have that game. Which I'm sure somebody...
Come on, geeks watch this show, it's not people.
This is why we
Geeks
turn
are
feathers
people
into
too.
lasso.
I mean,
Geeks are people too, Jason.
I mean, dumb people.
Just because you got your emo haircut and your long jacket, you think you're not a geek anymore? Is
I don't
that
have an emo haircut.
Yeah,
I hate it.
it's pretty emo.
No, it's not. It's on straight. Like,
Sure.
your haircut's more fucking emo. Look at that.
For men.
Anyway, point was,
So
it's
my
going to
point-
integrate
yeah.
with the real world.
And it's also this change in interaction between human beings and the web, which I think is pretty fundamental, because I've been interested in the web for a very long time, sat through it becoming a commercialized thing and was kind of saddened by that. But I've been converted to a more optimistic view of capitalism. And I see that the funding that's gone into that is ultimately fueling an acceleration in the way in which we develop our interaction with machines and with technology in general. And I think that this is the easiest way to see this, and the most profound way it's occurring is through the web. And it will become very, very visible in the near future. You'll have things like Bebo text messaging you when your friend is going to be late from the pub or something to the pub because they've gotten too late with another friend, and it works out that they're having a conversation. And really, really cool emergent things like this, all enabled by permissions.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
That stuff's tough.
It is very tough.
Maybe you're talking about a huge infrastructure, and the
Well,
problems are not easy.
Not really, because that sort of infrastructure only needs to be built once, then it's sold on.
Yeah, but it's like no one's going to invest in building that. So I mean,
Well, the
Half the
technology
problem-
is already there. The technology
technology's
is where you
there.
are. It's already in the mobile networks, the GSM
Yeah.
networks.
that's true.
So, it's already built. So all that has to be done is it to be used and to be monetized. And mobile networks are brilliant at monetizing technologies. Text messaging technology, which was never meant to be charged for, and originally wasn't in this country, now makes billions a year.
Yeah, but you're talking the mobile phone network is just the fidelity of like your location information is pretty rough.
It doesn't have to be great though.
I know it doesn't have
It just
to.
has to be
It
good
doesn't
enough.
have to be
Doesn't have to
good
be a mobile
enough.
phone,
But I
yeah.
mean, does the mobile phone network make it good enough? Because I mean, I think at most, as far as I know at the moment, you can tell who's in what cell, and maybe using the strength of signal from different cells can work out within like.
Well,
maybe
no, it's
quite large areas.
much more developed than that.
Doesn't have to be mobile phone though. I mean, there's people working on making GPS cheaper for us all.
Well,
I know,
undoubtedly
yeah.
we'll have GPS in our phones
Yeah.
in the future. But even on existing networks in the United Kingdom, you can buy a service to track your child's phone and things like that.
Oh yeah.
That's a reality already. So it's more than just, he's in this 10-kilometre thing. It's down to a few metres with accuracy. And I don't know what underlying technology is allowing that, but it certainly effectively exists. So these services, they're almost inevitable.
Yeah.
It just depends on the path of technology. Well, nothing's inevitable, but
Yeah, I'm not sure about the accuracy myself, but it would depend on the location anyway because of the triangulation use. So
Yeah, I don't know.
we'll see who's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Moving on.
yeah. Our student says,
I'm a science student actually.
really,
Science.
yeah.
Well, until very recently, computers were not regarded as a science subject, just an extension, a poor relative of mathematics.
It still is in terms of the Nobel Prize. That's why you can never win the Nobel Prize
Really?
for computing
Is
because
that not just because it didn't exist when the Nobel Prize was created?
no, computing in terms of the Nobel Prize taken is a subset of mathematics.
Doesn't make sense. It's all based on mathematics.
It's not really a science, is it? It's computers.
It's actually not. This guy, Paul Graham, would definitely argue it's not a science. Anyway, check that book out, Hackers and Painters. Moving on.
First pimp of the evening. Okay,
I
moving.
already pimped a certain couple of shows and stuff, so...
That was subtle enough that people wouldn't get it.
Uh,
You have to go signpost.
moving on.
Future of science. Oh man.
I think this is
No, this is the only one you understand.
only I
Makes
could
my
possibly
nose
comprehend the
bleed.
advancedness of this story. No, this is Kevin Kelly, who we talked about last week in relation to his free ebook. He's former Wired editor, and he's writing currently a book called The Technium, and it's all about the advanced. Well, it's about lots of things. It's about the future. It's a futurologist type book, and he's posted as a blog post his ideas about the future of science. He's talking about the next 50 years of science, not the next 200 years. So the ideas are kind of radical, kind of interesting. Some of them are more obvious than others, but here's just a few of them. He thinks that evolutionary search, solutions to problems, using computer programs to simulate iterative evolutionary change in complex systems will become a standard way of doing science. Stephen Wolfram is the pioneer of this kind of research, and his book, do you remember what his book is called?
No.
Well, he released a huge, gigantic book a few years ago which outlined how he was researching using this kind of mathematics. And Wolfram, of course, developed the program Mathematica, which is used as standard in every mathematics department in the world.
It's a great website as well, Wolfram website.
What kind of stuff have you got about?
Evolutionary.
What kind of stuff have they got about?
General math, kind of... Just
Evolutionary
like,
search. Is
kind
that
of
not
problems.
just
It's like an
genetic
encyclopedia of
algorithms?
math on stuff there.
Evolutionary search, is that just not some kind of genetic algorithms?
It's the extension of...
Extension of...
Apparently it's quicker than quicksort. Oh, sorry, no, this is different. But there's a sorting algorithm based on genetics, and apparently it's quicker than quicksort, which would be crazy. But that's unverified, so don't take my word for it.
Yeah, I came across that as well, and I think...
Yeah, I haven't read through that. So
I think it depended
I'm
on
not sure.
depended on the data. It could evolve based on the data it was
Ah,
receiving.
okay.
So I mean, the data was a certain way, and you could exploit certain patterns or whatever in the data to be better than quicksort. But if the data was
non-computer coders, quicksort is...
quicksort is
It's
simply
the
an algorithm
definitive-
for
it's
sorting
definitive.
items.
Maybe
Yeah.
one at a time would be...
the fastest algorithm in the world, like for sorting items. So
So exactly, if you have a
Yes.
list of numbers and you want to sort them in ascending order or descending order, you can use quicksort and it does really quickly.
So is it in theory the best that can be achieved for this particular task?
yeah, but it is, and it technically it'll still be the best for always getting it on time because like Francis says, and I guess it would make sense that any kind of even anything that could possibly be better is going to have a breakdown, which is probably takes forever to sort or something.
Yeah,
and, like these things always have worst cases.
I think essentially what it does is it takes advantage of say certain patterns or something like this in the data it receives. So there's certain set of numbers might have ones that repeat or something like this, and it's able to take advantage of that. So it's able to achieve gains over quicksort by doing those things. But I think in the worst case ends up maybe as quicksort or something worse.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I
if the
think
data
it'd be
is
worse.
truly random and there's no way it can exploit what it knows or what it's learned, then it kind of has to fall back
It's
to
probably going to be
traditional
Greek
method.
search, which is
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to Kevin Kelly's ideas about science, he's got some really fascinating ideas. If you're interested in the scientific process and how science is actually done, I really recommend checking this out. He's got a huge list of them, but just a very few more. Triple blind experiments. This is sort of in relation to ubiquitous computing, where you're collecting a large amount of data. And a classic problem in science is that if a study is done longitudinally over a large amount of time, when the study is originally conceived, how the results will be assessed and analysed isn't really understood at the time that it's originally set up. So 20, 30 years down the road, the statistical techniques and indeed the information looked for are entirely different. So his idea is to collect large amounts of information, huge, enormous amounts, which will then be statistically analysed computationally at a level removed from an individual scientist doing a particular experiment using statistics. So there's huge theoretical difficulties with this, which I don't understand. Each time you analyse any experiment statistically, you introduce error, but there are statistical techniques which have been developed for computational genomics, which is the analysis of genetic variations at a computational level that can supposedly get by these things. And Kevin Kelly certainly knows more about it than I do. But deep simulations is another interesting area. We see this with weather pattern simulations, where we now get a weather forecast from hyper-complex analysis of chaotic systems, essentially failing most of the time, but predicting, attempting to predict the weather. He says this is spreading to much more areas of science, and there is a huge international effort to build a rat brain at the moment, computer simulation of a rat brain, which would allow amazing amounts of information to be gathered if it can be successfully done. And he possibly the most radical thing he's talking about is wiki science. So beyond open publication of papers, which we talked about in the show before, people actually working together, multiple authors on papers through a wiki. And this is something that I can't see the scientific community embracing very quickly, but
yeah,
it would be quite radical if it happened.
it's pretty nuts, because then like you go, obviously like most people in the academic research, they do research for like maybe a certain company and they're funded. So you got to be able to go, you know, I built this and it's great, and here you go. You can now go off and sell this and make a product out of it. Hooray! You know, if it's like collaborative, then who owns it? And
It's a
it
bit
could be all kinds of problems.
It's a bit not really dealing with the reality of how science is done or funded.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's a bit. I like the compiled negative results though. The idea of just actually when things do go wrong, saying, you know, actually those results are as valid as anything, saying, oh, we got this right, and also being, you know, making things like, maybe you can have a whole journal for like the things that went wrong this year. Tried to build this, it can't be done.
This is a huge
Don't waste your
problem
time.
with science. We have all these papers that are published with significant results, but 9 out of 10 papers published in psychology at least don't have any significant results. Or 9 out of 10 papers, written but not published. So you get this file drawer problem of all these papers sitting there which have a result which is meaningful, but it's not significant. So they didn't find what they were looking for. And that might be a finding in itself, but you never get to hear about it.
Yeah.
So at the moment,
it could impact on like something you're researching.
definitely. And the moment you have to calculate that, you have to weaken the strength of your tests, because you don't know how much other research was done which contradicted it.
Yeah.
So you could really increase the strength of you can increase the statistical power of your experiments if you could know that. So that would be hugely meaningful. And
Sounds good.
Kevin Kelly rocks. Yeah, very cool. Have you any kind of criticisms though, from a practical standpoint, from a computing standpoint of any of these methods?
I think that
No, they seem grand, I guess.
Legend.
I'm not sure about the collaboration papers though. I'm not entirely sure like how the peer review process would change with that, but I guess it could be made to work, so
I don't know. I think
the
the
sure will tell.
experiments which occur ubiquitously without the knowledge of the participants, that's going to be pretty hard to pull off.
Yeah,
I think, you know, it's just
ridiculously
like,
hard.
because like you'd be like, I was in an experiment. You'd be well pissed off. You would though. You're
I
like,
don't think he's talking about like sort of punked style experiments, you know, where you find out at the end that your wife was really a robot.
I know, but still, like, I mean, you know, you would be kind of paranoid that, like, oh, am I under a government, you know, some kind of government-sponsored experiment at the moment? And that's when my job has suddenly gone shit.
Did you not realise that we're all part of a government-sponsored experiment?
Are we?
The very nature of reality is an experiment. Isn't that right, Jason? It's an illusion.
It's an experiment.
It's all a dream.
It's an illusion.
Wake up.
Rip a hole in if you pull hard enough.
No, you're not getting it. He doesn't
You
get
yourself are an illusion, so of course you can't rip a hole. You don't get anything. Not get any either. So.
But,
Okay, moving on. Jason, podcasting.
Okay, so this guy, Colin Moynihan, in last week's Sunday Business Post, there was an article about Irish podcast consultancies, and I know this is something close to both your hearts, but yeah, so there's 2 companies on the scene now, and the first one's Digicast, is it? Yeah. And another one called Dupe, and they both basically go out to companies like as a consultancy and
Dupe them.
Yeah, they dupe them into making podcasts. about, I don't know, the kind of stuff that corporate blogs can handle needs in podcasts, I guess. So,
Little employees, love your management, love them.
Yeah, this is kind of cool, but also kind of not cool. I remember when my first job after leaving school was working for Hewlett Packard as a little drone, and every day we'd get a video email from Carla Florioni, the head of HP at the time, which was of no relevance to 90% of the people getting the email.
Steve Wozniak once worked for HP.
Did he?
Could have been him.
Could have been my dad.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems interesting. Like definitely, seems like the corporate industry might be trying to latch onto the whole podcasting and video vidcasting kind of thing, because obviously it's incredibly popular at the moment, and it's only going to grow.
And who knows? I mean, it might be the worst thing in the world if some companies do start to use technologies like blogs, like podcasts, to actually interact with their customers instead of just shout advertising at them.
Yeah. Plus, like, it might be just an easier way to like reach their customers with actually relevant information, because people that are spending so long in the commutes to work and all this, like, it might be just handy to actually listen to some of this stuff, to like, oh, I've got to get through such and such and look at these companies in the morning for like a project or something like this, so I'll just like download, I don't know, a podcast promo or something like this of what they do and listen to it on the way in, and just might help with like making a decision, so you've like some of the work done when you're sitting in the car.
Definitely. I think though ultimately there's a danger of podcasts becoming, now that you mention it, like the old school soap operas back in the 50s. They didn't have an ad at the end. They used the product during the show.
Oh yeah.
So maybe Ricky Gervais will mention his new Ray-Bans or whatever.
No, he's already charging you, so but yeah.
I might just read you twice.
Yeah, he might just read you twice as well. Just go.
Actually, I have to say, I love this product now.
Yeah.
We love our Aeron chairs.
No.
This show is 100% sponsored, not.
By emo.com. Emo. Well, it's sponsored by hotchicks.com, and as you can see, we've got a fine hot chick behind us.
Yeah, so I know that could definitely happen, because it's already happening with like many Hollywood movies you see, which is absolutely horrific when you see it. One of the great offenders was like
The Matrix.
The Matrix, and
I,
also
Robot.
iRobot was
Oh my
the
God.
most crass ever. Ooh, I love my Converse. Ooh, yeah.
Genuine 2004.
I love my Mazda.
Yeah.
Mazda cars as well.
It was sickening.
The first 15 minutes of the movie, he just wore the shoes with glorious close-ups, and then his boss goes, "Hey, I like your shoes. Are they real Converse from actual 2005 available now just outside the cinema?"
In 1995, in a store near you. Yeah.
That was sick.
And the link starts flying up. Yeah, it was rather horrific.
Surprised there wasn't a price tag around his feet.
Yeah. So
Whore! Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, that could definitely happen in podcasts, but they're going to try and insert ads one way or another into it to try and cash in.
They've got to be paid for it. I mean, bandwidth is not free. It's getting cheaper all the time, but until Google launch our next story, there certainly is no free bandwidth.
Our next story
Is that me?
the Gdrive. Ooh, you thought it was good with Gmail with your 2 gigs, and if you had the right software, you could store files in it. Wait for it. Google, apparently, in a recent presentation at Google, I think slides were shown that they didn't intend to be shown, and they quickly went, "Oops, sorry, lickety leak." And apparently, this showed that they are planning to create infinite storage, so that essentially Google will have a copy of your hard drive on the Google servers, so that if your computer goes kaput, all your files are safe. In the loving arms of Google.
In the hands of Google. What's your reaction to this, Jason?
Fair enough, but it's hard to see how the revenue stream's going to come from this at all.
Isn't it? I mean, you're not going to cover it with a few little ads, banners, as it's not going to cover infinite bandwidth. I guess they're figuring that the extra services that you'll buy will be worth so much to the world, including them.
Yeah,
and that sounds kind of.
I don't know. It's weird, but maybe like they'll be serving this week we came across iOS, which was like an online kind of desktop suite of Office programs. So maybe you'll have all your files from your hard drive, and then you can access it anywhere, and Google will provide all these applications to access your files and edit them.
But maybe
and
companies
maybe
will
it'll
have to
charge
pay
you through
Google
that.
to suck your data from the Google server or to give data to it.
Yeah, or they'll do the same thing as before, or trawl, as they do with Gmail, trawl through your files and,
I
base the
yeah.
advertising they show you on that. So it might be something you have to agree to. So, I don't know, it's something that leaked out from a presentation. So I mean, it could be just something that someone went, alright, let's do this, and then it was everyone goes, oh my god, they're doing it! And
That's
it's
what always
sorry,
happens.
it was just an idea.
Yeah, that's what always happens with Google. People blow it out of the water.
People
Google have labs and people are creating stuff all the time. I mean, 10% of their time is whatever they want to do.
20%, isn't it?
20%.
10% is whatever they want to do. The other 10 is they can go and work on any project they want, and then the other 80% is their side work.
Yeah, so I mean,
Interesting.
yeah, people just usually come across some idea, or some person comes up with some crazy thing that half rumor, half truth they've heard about Google Cubes and desktops and operating system, and the whole world goes mad with what Google are doing next. Check it out.
And Google
nothing
dinners,
happens.
everyone wants to see what Google employees eat. And I can tell you, it's a lot of Ben and Jerry's.
Well, it does look to be some good feed.
And Ben and Jerry's. They have whole fridges just...
And they have whole labs full of sweets as well.
Yeah,
Have you seen this? But it's not going to be infinite. That's one thing. I mean,
it's not.
that's a really obvious thing. I could see you thinking that. I mean, it's not going to be infinite because infinite. People don't really comprehend what that means. I mean, if there really was infinite storage, within a week there'd be no IP left. It would be goodbye because it would be so easy to trade stuff, and there's no technology which exists which is clever enough to prevent that. But even forgetting that, suppose Jim down the street decides to blog his life, tie a camcorder to his head, and stream directly, uncompressed, the footage of his life to the Google home thing. That's going to create terabytes in weeks. I mean, this is not sustainable for anybody. So.
The amount of information that you kind of.
But it'll be big, probably. If it does that.
It's huge.
Maybe even 5-10 gigs free would be amazing. That would revolutionise.
It would
web
be
storage.
huge.
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly you wouldn't actually have to probably carry around all these hard drives and iPods and whatever you use for carrying around your files that you use every day.
Not to mention for podcasting.
Exactly. I'm
Please don't
glued to my memory stick.
Play with yourself there. No, I didn't. I just wanted to say that. Yeah, I mean, for even vidcasts and podcasts, citizen media stuff. I mean, Jesus, can you imagine? You could get slashed out tomorrow, and it would make no difference because Google were taking care of it.
I didn't know it implied that anyone could access it. I thought it was a private thing, but...
Maybe I don't know. Again,
Excuse me.
again.
I mean,
it's
it's
a rumor.
not... Yeah, it's not even... If it does exist, it's probably not even over HTTP. It could be, but...
Well, you can already use Google PageMaker to do this. Google PageMaker
How much
news
space
service.
is that?
It's only 100 megs, but it's still 100 free megs with no restrictions, which is pretty unheard of. So you can create web pages using a WYSIWYG interface, more Web 2.0 goodness. Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Tasty.
But it will be great if they launch it, and we will take back anything bad we've ever said about Google and climb into their waiting giant vaginas.
That's nothing bad about Google. Oh yeah, and something else about Google is the calendar got leaked this week. It's a bunch of screenshots of the new Google Calendar on Flickr, and I think I didn't read the story, but apparently it was caused by Yahoo got someone on the inside to do it for them.
Yeah,
It was an inside job.
Also on
Whoa.
TechCrunch.
So this is a calendar application, a web
It was on
application.
TechCrunch, yes.
Yes.
This sits on the web and you set your dates and appointments and it emails you or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think
So
so.
what would be so revolutionary about that? I mean, there's half a dozen 30 boxes and so on, which do the same thing.
I didn't spend enough time to look at it, but it looks good. I guess the kind of the integration of Google Mail.
Yeah,
and
it's probably just another thing that
so
you
in
have your Gmail, you have your Orkut for
Yeah.
your
and
you know,
Talk
social
as well is
network.
already built into
Google
Gmail.
Talk, so it's just another thing to kind of make it your one-stop shop for all organising your
It would be cool. I mean, I tried a few of those calendar apps in the last few weeks. I tried all of them, and none of them were any good.
Yeah.
So that was a big problem.
My requirements would be like a good iCalendar support. I haven't seen any that has an iCalendar support, and web dev access as well as regards standards would be a must.
I just like one that was really clear. You could see a long view of the future, change the view, like a timeline that you could stretch or decrease.
Yeah,
Very,
so you
very
can zoom
clear.
in or zoom out and just see
Yeah.
what's in the next hours, days, weeks, and so you can just see the big things. So maybe the important things are just show up.
And I wanted to do micro reminders. I wanted to email me on a daily basis, and I wanted to text my phone anywhere in the world on an hourly basis if it got important.
And then when you go home, you wanted to make you dinner, and then
I wanted to kiss me gently, not with a mother's softness, but with that of a lover.
you heard it first. Too.
Could I have that, please? Thanks. That'd be great. Okay. I think that's pretty much it, except for media bill.
Alright.
Do you want to go first with your?
Where am I pimping?
Oh, it says here Yahoo Calendar. Does that mean Google Calendar? Did I just talk shit?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Anything else you want to pimp? Your ride.
Yeah, I'm gonna pimp my ride on. Yes, there's a Wikipedia thing. No, never mind. I'm just gonna pimp the Wikipedia. I don't care. We haven't pimped it before.
We haven't.
We have
It is the greatest website ever. Wikipedia.com.
Stop.
That's where I get all my essays from. It's where it's where I live. No, you live there, but I've only visited.
Yeah, it's my virtual world pretty much now.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool. You got one as well?
Yeah, just something off. I think you can get it off YouTube, and it's real life Simpsons intro. So I mean, everyone's familiar with The Simpsons. So this was done with real actors, whatever, and it looks good. And apparently, it's going to be the intro to actually one of the new Simpsons episodes.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, seriously.
Class.
Apparently it is. So it's quite it's decently done. Like, and camera moves at the right place.
It's very English as well.
I think it's like porn.
Yeah.
It's very English as well.
Do you think?
Yes.
Yes, it is quite
Oh,
English.
definitely.
Really?
I don't
Yeah,
see
Yeah,
it
yeah,
in
I
English.
definitely got that. Completely English.
Yeah, I don't know what
There
it
was money behind it. This isn't just something a fan did. It's well produced to the point that.
Plus
Yeah, it's too well done.
the Clancy Wiggum in it is like dressed as an
I mean,
English policeman.
How many fans can get into a nuclear power plant?
You heard it here first. Shot in a real nuclear power plant
Yeah.
with a real man called Homer being the nuclear power man and real radioactive
Safety,
green
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, of course.
And the boy is really called Bart, and he never gets any old, and is in Seattle. Okay, so I've got a couple of media pimps. One is the Power Glove, which is a video from The Wizard, the great 80s movie. And if you love the glove, because it's bad, you should watch this video. And the second is the It Crowd. If you like, or even sort of
Oh.
like.
Yeah. I thought that you, Gareth, did not like the It Crowd.
You know what? I like one episode of it, but for that, it was worth downloading it for free. All the other episodes.
You heard it here first, Corey.
Just one was good.
Okay!
He now likes the It Crowd.
So you can download the whole season. And we've got a link to where you can download every episode or watch them online. Diggnation on time. Screw you, Kevin Rose, and screw you, Alex Albrecht. Although you are legends, no, I'm only kidding. You can get Diggnation without having to wait halfway through the week. If you're a fan of this show, you can get it on time. By
yeah,
following
this
the
is
link.
on the forums like a long time ago when they brought out the show and they're like, yeah, we don't mind, we'd rather you didn't, but if you want to get them, fair enough.
If you don't
They're
like
not
waiting,
gonna
then who does?
There it was. Yeah, exactly.
And Spore gameplay video. This is possibly, what did you say, the best game of all time?
Possibly, yeah. It
Look
looks
at it, it's amazing. It's from the cellular level to the galactic level. It's one game where you play, like, you start off as a single-celled organism and you can literally manage a civilization.
Yeah, you get
So-
to evolve your species, and then actually I heard that whenever people create worlds, the game's like internet networked obviously. Whenever people create worlds, and you get intergalactic and you travel to the worlds, you will get a copy of their world, so they will be playing against you. So you get to like fight their species and like against the computer rather than them. So that
means
sounds
you've got a
good.
limitless variety of planets, an actual galaxy
Yeah.
of however many people own the game.
Plus other people come along. It's amazing.
Legends. I can't wait to play it. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, for a while, yeah, but definitely good.
And it comes
Definitely.
from Will
Yeah.
Wright as well, creator of The Sims and SimCity,
Cool.
two of the most innovative games of all time. And finally, Hiss of Cosbys.
What can I say?
Possibly the most offensive show ever created.
Bill Cosby.
If you're Bill Cosby or black or just anyone really who doesn't like seeing penises, or it's very offensive, but it's very original, and I think it's where vidcasts are going to go. More secular. Secular, that's not the right word. More segmented, really strange, unique things that appeal to a small amount of people.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. They're going to go that way.
We should get a flying machine, like, see what a few different cars could be, like the 10th car.
I wouldn't mind doing a show with
Like-
3 of me. I think it would go a lot more.
No,
smoothly.
the first 3 are obviously going to be really, like, different things, like, I don't know, blind stuff.
Blind. That's my special skill. I'm blind. Helen Keller guard.
You only get a special skill every 10.
No, that's you get a super powered.
Yeah, okay.
A special
Yeah.
skill every time.
Yeah, but they're always stupid skills, so.
They're like sharpening a pencil with great acridity or whatever.
Yeah?
Is that a term? Acridity? I don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
But so yes, thank you for watching. This has been. Got them all over me.
There are 2 sheets of paper. God.
I breathe easily. This has been Technolotics.
Episode number 23.
28.
28, dude.
How long have you been gone? Whoa! Since you've been gone. You ripped by Technolotics over here.
Okay.
Oh, stop. Well, goodbye.